This time out, we're going to create a card hero, which is a design like this, with a photo behind and an overlaying shape that makes this text easy to read, regardless of what background photo we add. And we're actually going to start on a section I've already built, which is a classic hero section. And if you're wondering about how to do that, you'll find on our Hostinger Forge playlist, there's a tutorial to do just that. But if we jump into our Hostinger website builder layout, we can see that we've got this classic section. We've got a heading 1, paragraph 2 style, although I could decide to change that maybe to a paragraph 1 to make it slightly bigger. And sometimes when we change the text size, we'll need to change the color as well. That's just a little quirk I found in the Hostinger website builder. But once you've got a starting point and we built all of that, and as I said, I'd recommend going and checking out that tutorial first if you're unsure about how to create this type of structure. Also, it's very important to test in mobile before jumping across to anything else, just to make sure everything is aligning as we want it, because otherwise we'd have to go and edit that twice in this section and the new section we're going to design. So if I go to the more options here, we can copy the section, and now we can paste the section and it will drop it in below whatever highlighted section you've added. Bear in mind, we can actually do that on subsequent pages as well. So we can copy it from this page and bring it into any other page within the website. I'm hoping Hostinger will allow the feature to migrate these sections across multiple websites. That would be absolutely amazing if that is a feature coming in the future. And I'm going to keep lobbying for that because it means that we can build websites more efficiently. We can have a wider range of starting structures, much like I do with Squarespace, and rapid prototype the website build process, so we can spend more time working with the client on getting the brief, choosing the right imagery, and fine-tuning the layout so our websites look bespoke. Before we go any further, I'm going to edit the section and I'm going to replace this image for a more busy photo. So if I go to free images, change it to scene. What scenery do we have? I'm going to look for a landscape photo because we can keep that resolution far better. If we go for this one here, and we can see this content in this corner, we could lose the text and we're losing it a little bit here over top. So this is a perfect example of where we can use a card on this side. It's got to fit within the 24 column grid, so we can see the grid as we start to move elements. A background photo or color can extend either side, but the content itself cannot. And I'm going to cheat here now. I shouldn't really do this, but I'm going to change this to a heading 3. What I would normally do is make my heading 1 smaller on the website, just so we can make it more compact and have an adjusted layout for what I want here. I'm now going to go to shape. At this stage, I've got two choices. I can either put backgrounds on individual items of text. So if I go and edit the text and click on the dots for more options, we can see there's a background color option, but we have limited options for spacing around the text. I could choose to centrally align it, but we can't really change the padding without the line height. And if it drops to a second line, that will look a little weird. So I'm not going to choose that option. And instead, I'm going to add a shape. If I click on add element, go to our shapes option. We've already got a shape in here in terms of the line. And by default, the shape that will pop up will be a square. So we can enlarge that, and then we can drag this middle handle to bring it right the way over to our bounding box. We can make as much use of the space as we can. Click on these 3 dots, and we should have the option to send to back. That will always be a layer up from the background image. Our card hero is now starting to take shape. And we're looking for nice consistent white space around each of the elements here. So I'm going to give it a little bit more breathing space, bringing the elements in and snapping them or aligning them by eye if it doesn't give you a grid option to the left hand side. That's looking pretty good. Final step is I could either be happy with that, or I can change the color of the card, and then I will need to go in and change the text color throughout, and also the color of the line, and probably our button as well. This time I'm going to go for a grey color, and it goes to black then on hover effect. So now we've got a card hero looking nice and in place. I could decide to bring this right down into the bottom corner and have it offset off the bottom of the page. And I think I might do that. So that card now goes to the bottom of that section. I can bring these elements further down. Another option, I can just bring this up first, then select all of the items in that section. Bear in mind it won't select the background image, and just bring it to the bottom. So we've got a lot of this hero to see now. We've got the card popping up from the bottom of that section. And what we can do now is actually change the color of this panel so it matches up, so it looks like that tab is cutting out of this section. And I've used that effect many times on websites to get a bespoke look. Once I'm happy with that, I can press save. I find that line's a little heavy. Unfortunately, there's no way of reducing that any thinner without some custom code. And I have promised already I will create a tutorial on how to do that. Okay, save that. And I lied before when I said final step, because this is the final step, I promise. And that is to get this working on mobile view. I need to bring that up. Helps if I grab the right section. Bring that across to the edge. We can't snap it out right to the edge of the screen, so it'll always be a little bit in. And now I can select all of those elements and bring them down to the bottom. Okay, so you may look at this and think it's not actually what you want because you want more of the detail in the photo. So we could decide on mobile view to change that card, move it further up, or extend the height. And that's absolutely fine. Another option we've got is we can hide certain elements from mobile view. So for example, we could get rid of that short introduction and instead just have the title, line, and call to action button. When we reduce the height of this section, it should still work wonderfully on desktop view. And I'm going to have the designer curse now where I'm just tweaking and tweaking and tweaking, where I really need to bring this tutorial to a halt. Okay, back to desktop. We can see it's unchanged there. So we've got our new hero style on both desktop and mobile. I always recommend have a play around with it. And I'll just demo this very quickly for you to show what it looks like when it ties into the same section. And if we jump across to preview, we can see some of the other designs I've put together here. There we go. A card hero that seamlessly slots into the next section. Hope you've enjoyed. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment with some of the designs that you've created using the Hosting a Website Builder. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time. Cheers.